Most people like to think they are open-minded. They believe they listen. They believe they can change their mind if something new appears. This feels important to believe about yourself. It feels like proof that you are reasonable. But everyday life shows something quieter. Think about a belief you hold strongly, something about how people are, how the world works, what matters. You did not pick it randomly. It grew over time. It helped you understand things when you needed answers. Now imagine someone questions it, not in an aggressive way, just enough to make you pause. You feel it right away, a small tension, a need to respond, a pull to explain why you are right. You may stop listening without noticing. Your mind starts moving fast. You remember moments that support your belief. You forget the ones that don't. You look for words that protect what you already think. This happens quickly. You might say you enjoy discussion. You might say you like hearing other views. But inside, the goal is not understanding. The goal is keeping something steady. Beliefs are not just thoughts. They are supports. They help you decide what makes sense and what doesn't. They help you explain your past. They help you plan your future. When a belief is questioned, it can feel personal. That is why small disagreements can feel big. A comment about parenting, a view about work, an opinion about success. Suddenly, the room feels tighter. You feel the need to stand your ground. Often, the belief itself is not that important. It might be a habit, a story you tell yourself, a way of explaining why things turned out the way they did. But it feels important because it holds something together inside you, so you protect it, you repeat it, you explain it. You spend time with people who agree. You avoid places where it might be challenged. Slowly, without planning it, your world becomes more comfortable. That comfort feels good. Protecting your beliefs feels like protecting yourself. It keeps doubt away. It keeps life feeling clear. It keeps hard questions at a distance. Most people don't notice they are doing this. They don't say they are afraid to question their beliefs. They say they know what they believe. That sounds stronger, and it works. Beliefs make life easier. They reduce uncertainty. They help you move forward without stopping all the time. But they also make it harder to notice when something no longer fits. Most people sense this at some point. They just don't like admitting how much they rely on their beliefs staying untouched. When people protect their beliefs, they rarely say they are afraid. That word feels too big, too dramatic. Instead, they feel something quieter, a discomfort, a resistance, a sense that questioning this belief would open something they do not want to deal with. Jung would pay attention to that moment. He would say this is where hiding begins. Beliefs often protect parts of ourselves we do not want to look at directly. They hold together our sense of who we are. They explain why we made certain choices. They justify why we stayed, why we tried, why we gave up, or why we didn't. Questioning a belief can feel like questioning your past. If the belief changes, then something else has to be faced. Regret, shame, loss. The feeling that you misunderstood your life for a long time. That is heavy. So the mind steps in to protect you from that weight. Jung would say the mind does this by pushing uncomfortable thoughts out of awareness. Not denying them fully, just moving them aside. You don't think about them unless you have to. When someone challenges your belief, you may feel irritation before you feel curiosity. Your body reacts first. You feel the urge to defend, to explain, to correct. That reaction is not about logic, it is about protection. The belief is doing a job. It keeps certain feelings out of sight. It keeps doubts from getting too close. It keeps painful questions from becoming real. Jung called this the shadow. Not something evil, but something unseen. The more important the belief is, the more it protects. This is why people can become attached to beliefs that no longer help them. Letting go would mean facing what the belief was covering. It might mean admitting fear, or loneliness, or uncertainty. So instead of looking inward, people tighten their grip on the belief. They repeat it. They surround themselves with others who share it. They avoid conversations that might disturb it. Over time, the belief feels safer than the truth underneath it. Jung would say this is not a failure, it is a survival move. The mind chooses stability over exposure. It chooses what feels safe over what feels honest. But the hidden part does not disappear. It stays in the background. It shows up as tension, as defensiveness, as a strong emotional reaction when the belief is questioned. Protecting beliefs is often not about the belief itself. It is about what would be exposed if the belief cracked. After a belief is protected, it is not left alone. It is explained. A story forms around it. This story makes the belief feel right, necessary, and even wise. Nietzsche paid close attention to these stories. He noticed that people often explain their beliefs in ways that protect their pride and calm their fear. The story is not about truth first, it is about comfort. When someone questions a belief you hold, the story shows up fast. You say the belief is realistic. You say it is grounded. You say it is how the world really works. These words sound solid. They close the conversation. The belief starts to feel like common sense. Nietzsche would notice how easily belief turns into moral ground. You are not just right, you are responsible. You are practical. You are not like those people who are naive or emotional. This is where the belief becomes harder to touch. If the belief is reasonable, then questioning it feels reckless. If the belief is mature, then doubt feels childish. The story protects the belief by making alternatives look weak or dangerous. Over time, the story grows stronger than the belief itself. You may forget why you believed it in the first place. You just know it feels correct. It feels settled. Nietzsche warned that this is how beliefs stop being tools and start being shields. They stop helping you see the world clearly. They start helping you avoid discomfort. The story also reshapes how you see others. People who share your belief feel safe. People who question it feel annoying. People who challenge it feel threatening. This keeps your world quiet and predictable. The belief now does more than explain life, it organizes it. Nietzsche would ask what this story gives you. It gives you certainty. It gives you a place to stand. It protects you from doubt, confusion, and the fear of not knowing. But it also takes something away. It takes away curiosity. It takes away flexibility. It takes away the ability to sit with uncertainty without rushing to an answer. When beliefs are wrapped in stories like this, they no longer feel optional. They feel necessary. Letting go would not just change your mind, it would shake your sense of self. So the story keeps repeating. The belief stays protected, not because it is always true, but because it feels too costly to question. At some point, protecting a belief stops being about comfort and starts being about results. Not what you feel, not what you intend, what actually happens because the belief stays in place. This is where Machiavelli would look. He paid attention to outcomes, not explanations. When a belief is protected, it shapes behavior. Decisions follow it. Rules are built around it. People act in ways that match it, even when it quietly hurts them. The belief does not need to be spoken out loud. It works in the background. Machiavelli would notice that beliefs are powerful because they organize people. They tell people what is acceptable, what is normal, what should not be questioned. When enough people share the same belief, it becomes hard to challenge without risk. Protecting a belief keeps things stable. Stability feels good. It lowers conflict. It makes life predictable. For groups, families, and institutions, this matters more than truth. A belief that holds people together will often be defended even when it causes harm. From the outside, this can look calm, orderly, functional. From the inside, it can feel heavy but familiar. Most people choose familiar weight over uncertain freedom. Machiavelli would also notice who benefits. Some people gain security, some gain control, some gain authority. Others adjust, others stay quiet, others carry the cost. The belief stays because it works for the structure, not because it works for everyone. When someone questions the belief, the reaction is often strong. not because the question is dangerous, but because it threatens stability. Questioning opens space. Space invites change. Change brings risk. So the belief is defended, not always with anger, often with calm words, with tradition, with rules, with phrases like, "This is just how things are." Over time, protecting the belief becomes automatic. People no longer ask what it creates. They only notice how uncomfortable it feels to imagine losing it. Machiavelli would say this is how beliefs turn into tools of control, not through force, but through habit, through repetition, through the comfort of staying aligned. Nothing dramatic has to happen for this to matter. The belief quietly shapes lives. It decides who speaks, who waits, who adapts. Protecting beliefs feels personal, but the effects are shared. And once a belief becomes part of how things work, changing it feels harder than living with its cost. Beliefs do more than explain life. They make it easier to live with. This is where Hill comes in. He paid attention to how belief softens uncertainty and keeps people moving when things feel heavy or unclear. When life feels confusing, belief offers relief. It gives direction. It gives reassurance. It says things make sense, or at least will make sense later. That comfort matters. Without it, many people would feel lost. Hill would notice that people protect beliefs not only because they fear losing them, but because beliefs help them keep going. When you believe something strongly, you don't have to stop and question every step. You can move forward without feeling stuck. This feels good. Belief reduces doubt. It quiets fear. It turns uncertainty into hope. Even when nothing changes on the outside, belief can make the inside feel lighter. That is why people often hold on to beliefs during hard times. When things don't work out, belief says there is a reason. When effort doesn't pay off, belief says it will later. When answers are missing, belief fills the gap. Hill would not say this is wrong. He would say it is human. Belief gives emotional rest. It gives a sense of purpose. It helps people wake up and try again. For many, that comfort is not optional, it is necessary. But comfort has a side effect. When a belief feels good, questioning it feels bad. It feels like removing a support. It feels like standing without something to lean on. Even if the belief no longer fits reality, it still fits the need for reassurance. So people protect it. They return to it when they feel unsure. They repeat it when things go wrong. They choose the belief because it makes the moment easier, not because it answers every question. Hill would notice that belief often stays not because it is proven, but because it helps people endure. It makes waiting easier. It makes effort feel meaningful. It turns uncertainty into something bearable. That comfort is powerful. And once belief becomes a source of comfort, letting it go feels like choosing discomfort on purpose. Most people avoid that. They choose what helps them cope. Protecting beliefs is not always about truth. Sometimes it is about surviving the day. Most of the time, we already know this. We just don't like hearing it said.